Hey guys, so I thought that today I would show you the Japanese help I have on my phone to practice. So let's get into it. This is my Japanese folder. I have 4 apps. The first one is Podcast Edit, where I follow one podcast which is in Japanese, but it also explains the sentences in English afterwards. And the podcast I'm following is called Learn Japanese Pod, and it is by Alex Brook. And there is a lot of different dialogues. You can decide whether you want to hear just the whole thing, like the dialogue and when they explain what it means and the sentence structures and way to say it, like when it goes up and down and so on. And or you can just hear the dialogue and so on. So there's a lot of different things you can do with this, and I highly recommend to listen to a type of podcast in the language that you're learning, just to listen to it more. You can also watch videos or TV and series or whatever, but really listening to it without having anything to look at is more challenging, I think. So that's why I like this podcast. Also, it explains and they speak quite slowly for a beginner. Alright, the next app I have is called Kanji Study, and it is for studying kanji, or you can also study hiragana and katakana. It tracks how many days you have been studying in a row, and when you last been studying. I haven't really been using this lately because I've been studying for my exams. And then there's a daily goal, minus 10 minutes, and there is pretty much there's a lot of categories, like the basic 1 to I'll start with the one. I made it into categories so you can study less at a time, because that's quite a lot in one batch, like 80 or something. So I separated them into smaller chunks in the beginning, but now when I got kanji lessons at schools, I found the kanjis that I needed to learn and created my own kanji list. There's currently 123 kanjis, and this is the kanjis that I'm learning. And then when you click on them, you can see how it's written up here in the stroke order. There's the Japanese reading and the Chinese reading, and also the English translation. And there's some examples and some vocabulary. And also, when you want to practice your kanjis that you have made, or one of the standards that are there, you press study, and you can have flashcard training, quizzes with multiple choices, or writing practice. I mostly use writing practice to get a hold of how to write it. And then it's just like, and then it gives you the reading and the English translation, and then you have to write it. And then you can go on until you've reached your daily goal. Also, if you need a hint, you just press the hint, and then it'll give you something. And you can see how many times you've hinted and have correct or had wrong strokes. And in the end, it will and in the end, it'll give you a score like A or B and so on. The thing about this app, though, is that it is not completely free. The basic group 1 is free, but the rest you have to pay to unlock. But you only have to pay once to unlock all of it, and it's quite cheap. So that's what I did, because it's really useful and I use it quite a lot. Then I have this link to a dictionary. It's called Jisho, and you can find it on the internet. It's called jisho.org, and you can write in English, Japanese, or the Japanese writing, or how many strokes you're searching for, and so on, to find the word. Example, if I wanted to write sleeve, then it'll come up there, some different, and that was the one I was looking for. So you just have to keep scrolling, and also, so it gives a lot of options for which word it is that you could be used for, and it's really useful if you have some knowledge and you need to remember what kind of word it was, or how you spelled it, or which kanji to use, and so on. You can also draw it or use radicals, so you can say it. And lastly, in my Japanese folder, I have the writing in Japanese on my keyboard, since I have a Huawei and there's no Japanese standard keyboard like there is an iPhone. So what it does is that you get the option to write in hiragana, katakana, kanji, in the Japanese letters, and I just have to press the keyboard and switch it to Japanese, and then the Japanese keyboard will come up, and when you write, the hiragana will pop up, and you can choose the kanji afterwards, and it's really useful if you want to write more Japanese on your phone. But it's not a lot that I had, but it is some, and I find it quite helpful, especially the kanji study. When you're on the go, you can just practice some kanjis, or listen to some Japanese podcast, and the Jisho is pretty useful for when studying. So those were the apps that I'm currently using. I'll probably add a lot more later, since I'm only first semester, soon second semester. But yeah, that was the end of the video. If you found these useful, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll leave the links for the apps that I'm using in the description below, and I hope you'll check them out. I found them really useful, and I'll see you guys next Friday. Bye!